Hey, internet. This is Harrison Perry, me. I am gonna be continuing on with WACOOH, with the WACOOH reads. I hope you've been enjoying the book so far. It's been quite an interesting experience for me to kind of revisit this novel that I wrote. Well, it's quite a while ago now. This is chapter 2. And I'm nervous. I don't know why I'm nervous. It's because I've moved the camera. The camera is further away. I've changed lenses. Anyway, we just finished chapter 1, and in chapter 1, a lot has happened. And by the way, I'm going to put a thing in here so you can skip the introduction if you want to. I think that might make things a bit easier for people. So in chapter 1, our hero, Quentin Alzubi, discovers a blotch on his flower, which he uses to create the elixir that gives him his immortality, which I think should be pretty obvious from chapter 1. So if you've not realised that, well, no, I don't mean to say that your reading comprehension is, or your listening comprehension is inadequate, but what I mean to say is it's not a spoiler. That shouldn't be a spoiler. He has discovered on his flower a blotch, and he's very worried. He's also been told by his assistant botanist Billick that one of their growth houses, where they grow lots of mushrooms, has gotten the black rot. He then makes the decision to he wants to move his flower back into the nursery from his apartment, where he hopes to cure the flower of its blotch. He then discovers that Lady Jupiter, the head of the Resource Council in New Havilah, where he lives, where everybody lives really, has made a trade deal with Subsolemn. We don't know what Subsolemn is or who they are just yet. There's lots of hints about them, but they've clearly been having issues. And in this trade deal, Quentin has been told he is to train an argonomist, soil scientist, in the ways and methods and means of hydroponics, which is how Quentin grows all of his coffee and his tobacco and the mushrooms that feed most of New Havilah. And the thing about this is Quentin has been down this road before. This isn't the first time that Quentin has been told that Subsolemn are trying to adapt their ways. So he's a little taken aback by all of this because he has quite the checkered history with Subsolemn. But that's all to be uncovered and all to be learned. So we are continuing on with the novel, as you all should be very aware by now, WACOOH. And this is chapter 2, titled It Must Move. And we are very much still in New Havilah. So sit back, relax, enjoy. Here I go again. I'm doing all right though, right? Like 2 videos. Well, chapter 1 was split across 3, but hopefully we'll now be doing chapters per video. Should be a lot easier for you guys to follow, and I will try my darndest to talk directly into the mic and make it sound nice and crispy for you folks at home. So enjoy. This is chapter 2 of WACOOH. Chapter is called It Must Move. It is to the plant's great distress that it cannot uproot itself and run. Dr. Conrad Kilkenny. That was the epigraph. I think you call them an epigraph for this chapter. I don't do it for all of them. Anyway, on with the chapter. That evening, over by the big bay window which looked out on the town, where the usual gloom of orange light spilt in from the street lamps, Sophia stood and stared and did not say a word. She had been in that posture for, Quentin wasn't sure, months, and he thought that it was time he adjusted her. Radiator pipes rattled as the earth injected its geothermal warmth into the building. A release valve hissed outside and steam rose through the orange light where it coloured to look like poison gas. The orange light Quentin had often fallen asleep to, no longer steadied him. It terrified him. A poisonous gas cloud, that sounded right to him. Lady Jupiter was a poisonous one too, and so was the Blackrot, and so was his mother. Why had she gone? Left him on this irradiated planet so he could fight in an endless war, to watch person after person die and perish and not once know him. He clung to her promise like life clings to the planet, desperately and at all costs. He found the courage to walk across the living room and put his hands on Sophia. She did not flinch. After he was sure he didn't feel her stirring, he gently unfolded her arms and let them dangle at her sides. She looked more like herself this way, and a lot less cross. He lifted her chin slightly, and then turned her head so it pointed directly at the Sun Church. "So you'll see all the good I'm planning to do," he told her. No reply came back to him, and he thought that a good sign. The corridor couldn't be seen from the window, and he wanted badly to see it ticking along in its regular way. He had sacrificed so much for this little town, for his home, but he was starting to worry that it might all fall apart anyway. "But this isn't your home, Quentin," Sophia whispered to him. He stepped back from Sophia and helped himself to the last mushroom puff on the dinner table. "Your real home is beyond the stars, with your mother, not here on Earth. She promised to come back for you." "And I have waited," he said, settling into his armchair. "You have waited a very long time, and she will surely be proud." He crossed his legs, trying to get comfortable, and, by ancient habit, he held his hands up to the wall, expecting to feel the heat of a crackling fire. But instead there came the faint heat of the radiator. "I miss fires. I miss trees and creatures and insects." "Can you believe it, Sophia? When I was young, people would whack spiders dead, clobble them with rolled up newspapers. Now none of that exists. Everything is dead. If people saw a spider today, they would stick it in a spider sanctuary and we would pay to come and visit." She didn't want to talk, and he knew why. Daniel planned to send another sub-Solomon. They were getting on the merry-go-round again. The last time it happened, he fell in love. So nearly abandoned his mother for her, for Sophia, but not this time. He got out his pipe and started smoking. What if she doesn't come back? What if she died on the way to Proxima Centauri? Got herself eaten by a gamma ray burst or crashed into space debris, I should say. There's been no message, no sign whatsoever. It's been so long, Sophia. I don't know if I can keep this on. He puffed away. "I'm happy here. They need me here. I keep their mutations alive. And I bring into this world the small luxuries that make it worth living in. Coffee and tobacco and chocolate. No one else can do it. Well, Billet could. He could run the place. If it wasn't for Bill, we'd all be still eating bark beetles and have no mushrooms. These people are real, Sophia, and they are here, unlike my mother, who left me with nothing but a flower." Tobacco smoke rose past his face, smelling rich and warm, reminding him of the many smokes he had shared with Sophia. "What if I give up? What if I say I don't want to wait for her anymore? What if I say she can stay wherever it is she is and never come to get me? What if I say I don't need her?" Sophia had no answers for his questions. He curled forward and held his head in his hands, letting his pipe drop to the floor. Tears came quickly, and he did his best at first to not let them take him over. But tears have their way, and soon he was crying. He was back in the bombs, back when they burst and rattled your skull. His mother stroked his hair, whispered to him, "Everything's going to be all right. It's all going to be all right." He was 6 years old when the bombs fell. And when the sky went dark, he remembered his mother saying, "That's not the last time you'll see the sun. It's going to be bright when we burst through in our starship. When we have a new home, Quinn. A new home much better than this one. So don't cry about the sun." And she would scoop the tears off of him with a crooked finger. He rose up from the armchair and wiped the snot and tears from his face. "I want to see her again, Sophia. I don't want to die here." "Then what must you do?" "I need to manage my business. I need to prepare for the summer solstice. I need to know who's got my blood and..." He hesitated. And I need to move the flower. It mustn't die." Okay, next scene. Woo! Quentin's crying. He's a crybaby, isn't he? He's a little crybaby. One note I had on this from the illustrator actually was that Quentin was a wet wipe. That was a lovely note. Anyway, next scene. "I know, Bill," Quentin said into his telephone, the white morning cloud light straining his eyes. "But there's nothing I can do about it. Don't freeze them. If he doesn't pick them up today, we're going to set up a stall outside the nursery and sell them. I decided yesterday. I've got a feeling Lady Jupiter isn't going to accept them." "Oh, I knew they were for his lady." "Quite the gesture, yes. When you getting in?" Billick said. I can't get out to the grow houses and start a new coffee batch and check on the production house. There's cacao beans fermenting, which need to come out, and I've got 100 other odds to do." I'm sorry, this is Resource Council business," Quentin said, studying his drawings on the table. "I'll be as quick as I can. Get over to the production house today and start the chocolate. Chocolate strawberries at the summer solstice sound good to me." "Oh, aye, Captain." Billick rang off and Quentin was connected to the switchboard operator again. I don't know, how do I do this? I might just play it kind of straight with these other, because there's a lot of tertiary characters. I'll play it straight, I think. "New Havilah connection," the lady said. "Number, marker or name, please." With his finger, he traced a line on the drawing. "Is that right? Will the inflow tube fit it?" "Hello?" croaked the switchboard operator. "You aren't the only body who has calls to make, you know." Sorry. He pulled away his hand. "The drawings are good, sound. I need the blacksmiths next to the Alzubi plant nursery. It's marker 22. A moment." The line hissed and then, Metalsmith," answered Darlena Meta. "How can I be of service?" "Darlena, it's Quentin. You can quit it with the needs, buddy. I'm hanging up." Wait. Those bicycle frame repairs, do you remember those? The ones you said you'd pay me a kilo of coffee for? I told my husband that this was too good to be true, but he said it was the immortal man. Says that someone who lives that long can't get away telling lies. Says that they would have caught up by him. Oh, bloody hell, Harrison. Says that someone who lives that long can't get away telling lies. Says that they would have caught up to him by now. Quentin held the telephone against his chest and glanced at Sophia. Whatever he was searching for, he didn't find there. "Oh," he said to Darlena, "they most certainly do catch up to you. You simply tell better lies." "Helvetii, that your idea of a joke? What do you want?" "I'm very busy. I need you to make me a portable plant pot, but it needs to house everything, not just the roots. It needs to be tall and protective, rad-proof as well. And I need it to meet the same specifications as my hydroponic loop in the nursery. It needs outflow and inflow sockets and a chamber for growth media." "I'm hanging up," Darlena said. "I've got 2 kilos of tobacco, 300 grams of chocolate, and a handful of old world fruit you've probably never even heard about. If she makes this plant pot, the flower's safe. I'll have to figure a way of paying her when I can." All he heard was breathing, then a ruffle, then, Bill's been chatting in the pub. Says he's got 150 bright red old world fruits. Strawberries, he calls them. Says they are sweeter than chocolate, much sweeter. Also, says they are exclusively for Ganymede. So you can go take a walk in Gamma Valley for all I care, Quinn. I'm not taking goods that don't belong to me. Ganymede is expecting 100. We've overproduced. Overproduced? That's right, Quentin said. Much too many. We're very good at our jobs. He had her. He could feel it in his bones. You'll do it? When do you need this by? Darlena said. I've got parts due on a tram this week. Tomorrow. I'm hanging up. Wait. Quentin, I can't make all that, she said. I'm not smelting time. Do you have designs? I can drop them off right this minute. And it needs to be rad-proof. Yes, Quentin said. Do you want it plated gold too, huh? What are you but trouble? Please, Quentin begged. I won't forget this. Oh, God, he thought to himself. I should have made this up years ago. I should have known I would need to move the thing. Again. Last time I took too many risks. It's gotten so delicate over the years. Darlena sighed and said, make it 3 kilos of tobacco, a half kilo of chocolate, and 2 handfuls of the strawberries. He swallowed. He did quick sums, visualised his pantry and the production house, the drying room. He had the tobacco, but not the chocolate. All right, Quentin said at last. That's a deal. I'll see you in a minute. He quickly rolled up his drawings, and at least he had the forethought to design the plant pot. Rushed out of his front door and collided into Lady Jupiter. He yelped. Her? In this building? In Hotel du Soleil? Go back, he wanted to yell. You don't belong here. There's nothing to see here. Sophia's not for you. In her lower 2 arms, she carried a black book. Quentin gripped tightly onto his rolled-up drawings. Sorry to shock you, Lady Jupiter said, but it's good you are here. When I telephoned the building, the elevator operator told me you hadn't left for the day, so I thought I'd deliver this myself. I don't trust the post service with a sensitive item such as this. No, he said uncertainly. Sophia, he cried inside himself. I'm sorry, this wasn't my idea. She's conniving. A long-tongued trickster. He shuffled the rolled-up plans to hold them under his sweaty armpit and locked his front door, the keys rattling in his shaky hand. The hallway was empty. Next door hadn't had anyone in it for some time now, and the couple that lived in the rooms at the end worked in the turbine factory and were always there, never in. But he still didn't feel entirely comfortable talking in the hallway. The thought of letting anyone into his home, let alone Lady Jupiter, had him plotting wars to rival the old world. No one will find you, my love. Lady Jupiter's lidless eyes twitched as she noticed his drawings, but she didn't mention them. Perhaps that's what made you a head of state. You don't ask questions when you don't need to. You aren't sick, are you? She said. You're white as the sky. Have you got the radium fever? What are you doing here? He said. I don't take visitors. First you take my blood, then you make deals without me. And now this, invading my home. He headed for the stairs and would have words with Jed, the elevator operator, about letting anyone into the building without him knowing. The bicephalous fool, oh my god, this word is an absolute monster to pronounce, so I apologise, but it's bicephalus, the bicephalasus. It means two-headed, that's what that means. I thought I was being clever when I wrote it because of Google, and now here I am looking very much the fool. So there you are. The bicephalous fool. You'd think with twice the brains he'd never get a thing wrong. Lady Jupiter, pursuing him, called out, "This is your briefing book, Gospodin Alzubi. The Subsolimer Argonomist Ken Wu is to be picked up from the Subsolimer entrance tomorrow." "At the top of the mountain," he said, stopping right before the elevator. I don't have time to take a trip up the mountain, nor did he want to very much. She held out the black book. "I don't know what to say to you other than do your job." The elevator doors chimed and opened. Jed, the elevator operator, said, "Ground floor, Miss J." And Lady Jupiter waited for Quentin to take the book before stepping into the car. He took the black book, said goodbye, and headed back into his rooms, trying hard not to shake or shiver or give any sign that she had struck a blow. My home, he kept thinking. She's come to my home. What if she saw you, Sophia? What then? I suppose he is a bit of a wet wipe, ain't he? But he's not. He's a complicated man, I think, this Alzubi. All right, next scene. Here we are. That wet wipe line was not in the book. Anyway, next scene. Jed was talking to himself as the elevator car rode steadily towards the ground floor. The squid of the deep, Jed's first head said, does not know how to work over a crowd. Exactly, the second head said. She's in lack of pageantry. But the Hydra, now there's a wrestler who stirs crowds, who fills auditoriums with cheers and cries, who doesn't give the audience room to... Please, Quentin snapped. Both of you, please. I've not got the patience for it. Sorry, sir, the first head said, but it's nearly the season, and you know how we like the lucha libre. The second finished. If Lady Jupiter ever tries to come inside the building again, Quentin said, you'll have to warn me. He looked at both heads in turn. Do you understand? I don't give a damn if she's the wife of Ganymede and the head of the Resource Council. She has not got the right to be here uninvited. Oh, yes, sir, they both said. We're sorry, sir. The elevator car juddered to a halt and Jed began turning the wheel to open the doors. It won't happen again. Quentin took the tram from Hotel del Sole to the corridor. No time to bicycle. And ain't it always so, came New Havilah Wireless over the tram speakers. I sure think so. There's uprisings, coups, rebellions. Hey, do you think we're getting too political? I sure think so. How's about a tune to soothe those radiation burns? Here's one I'm sure you'll love. A love song. So there's a radio that is imbued in New Havilah's culture. New Havilah Wireless. And I will figure out the voice for that as this series progresses, because that's a huge part of this book for me, and I love this idea of this radio station, which, if any of you have played Fallout New Vegas, or any of the Fallout New Vegas was my favorite, radio plays a huge part in those games, and this book obviously heavily inspired by Fallout, and I just love radio. I think it's so much fun. So there is a radio station and I will figure it out. Anywho, Quentin stepped out from the tram as the song ended. There was a love song playing. I could add it in post, maybe, probably not. It had filled him with ideas about how to give Sophia a bit more love. Perhaps we'll dance this evening. No, he reasoned. There's no way she'd go for it. In the corridor, people hovered around open-air stools, sampling foods and haggling prices over their summer solstice dresses and suits. Snow sweepers hurried people out of their way. A band played on the low balcony a few buildings down, the 5-neck guitar handled by the only 10-armed person Quentin knew. He took all this in uneasily. The sub-solemn soil was sure to fail. And the black rot was growing worse. What happened when it took out a whole mushroom house? Or, sun forbid it, his flower? Goodbye, he wanted to yell. See you in the next world. A snow shoveler knocked him off balance, saying, Get out of me way! Loitering on the pavement like that! Who do you think you are, the immortal man or something? When he looked up, he froze for a moment. Then, oh, brightness in the sky, forgive me! Quentin went to go around, but the snow shoveler lifted a feathered arm, blocked his way. Oh, kind immortal man, my mother, she's a moss collector out in the Gamma Valley. She's got the radium fever, got rashes all over. Can you get her to Waters, the immortal man said, and barged the man out his way. No favourites. How many have I let die? He came to the low wall outside Darlena's metal shop, next door to his nursery, and squeezed his rolled up plant pot drawings. There must be some other way to treat the black rot, but he tried everything. He didn't need Billick to experiment because he'd done it all himself. He could never find the cause, and had to resort to destroying what was infected or sparing what he could of his Liphoric Z to help rejuvenate the infected plants. If only I could grow another flower. He walked up the pavement towards the blacksmith's door, keeping his head low, in case Billick had popped outside for air or to haggle a street vendor on a roach meat skewer. And I've tried and failed to grow another. A poster, slathered on the marble of the blacksmith's front wall, read, "New Havilands are rad-proof, sub Solomers ain't," with Lady Jupiter's bold visage hanging underneath, sending shivers up and down him. He knocked on the blacksmith's door and then headed in. Darlena was standing over a bright red metal pole. Huge black goggles clung to her face. "Oh, hey, you're only an hour late, huh?" As he set his rolled-up design down on the 3-foot wide anvil, he realised that the pole was a section of tram handrail. "Ganymede pays you well." She dunked the top of the handrail into water, steam hissing and screaming as fierce as any geothermal pool. Once the water settled down, she pulled off the goggles and said, "At least he shows up on time." She walked over to Quentin, black soot falling away from her, a floating trail forming up behind. She took the plans and unrolled them, read them over and tutted. "By the end of the day," she said, not looking up. "I need to go up the mountain tomorrow," he said, "so yes, this evening at the latest." "How's the bicycle?" she said, not taking her eyes from the drawings. "It'll hold up all through next winter. Some of my finest work. I could have made it in the old world, you know. Would have rivaled any bicycle manufacturer. I'll have your payment over to you this evening." And he headed back out to the corridor. Alright, next scene. I'll just crack on. After returning home, checking on the flour, extracting the daily dose of Z, and breakfasting with Sophia, Quentin arrived at the nursery to find Billick plucking and snipping strawberries from their stems. A pirate sea shanty played over the speakers. Quentin lifted the needle from the record, startling Billick, who nearly fell out of his wheelie cart. "What do you think you're doing?" Quentin said. "I never told you to pick them." The scaly man said, "You didn't, Captain, but John Ganymede did." Quentin pulled off his coat and threw it over a worktop. He rolled up his undershirt sleeves and said, "What?" Ganymede came by as I got back from the production house. Beans fermented good, by the way. He should have a nice chocolate batch for solstice. He went back to snipping strawberries from stems. You were saying?" Quentin said. Yeah. Ganymede, he came to collect, but I told him, "We haven't got them off the plant yet." And he goes, "Then get them off the plants." And I say, "But Gus Balding Al-Zubi isn't in. I can't do something like that without him." And he tells me he doesn't care, tells me to get on with it. Billick frowned. Quentin pressed his fingertips to his forehead and fought the urge to scream. "Thank the sun I came back now." Okay. We'll harvest them. But we keep aside 2 handfuls. My sized hands, not yours. The shears in Billick's small hand snapped shut, but missed their target. "We'll do what, Captain?" "I need to keep back 2 handfuls, he said. "I've had to pay over asking for a project." "Ganymede won't like it." "I don't have a choice." Billick set the shears down on the growing platform, spun his cart and wheeled it over to the worktop behind him. Small ceramic pots lined the worktop. Billick lifted the lid from one of these, revealing a bunch of strawberries. He closed it and said, "About 2 of your handfuls here." His eyes would not meet Quentin's. He held himself in a haunch, frowning slightly. "What's the matter with you?" Quentin said. "You're surrounded by fruits of the old world. And that reminds me, what are you doing running your mouth in the pub? Darlena told me everything. "What's wrong with me?" Billick said. "I don't ask too many questions. I'm good like that. But you're not here. We've got black rot, which I keep secret for you. And you're not doing rounds. We've got beans in the production house, and you're leaving me to do it all by myself. You're not here. You're on the secret projects. Snooping around, talking to Lady J, stealing Ganymede strawberries. What are you doing, Captain? It doesn't make any sense. What are you keeping from me? I don't know if I can keep on like this." He breathed a deep breath and met Quentin's eyes. I didn't know you felt all this," Quentin said. "It doesn't matter what he... I'm sorry, that's wrong. It doesn't matter what he thinks," Sophia whispered. "He's a means to an end." "I can't have this argument here, now. You should have brought him to the You should never have brought him to the nursery." He takes and he takes. Always wants more from you, Sophia whispered. I don't like to tell you these things, Billick said. I don't like to because I know how you are. You and your privacy. And I don't ask any questions. When I catch you talking to yourself, I don't ask any questions. But I'm worried, Quinn. I'm worried more than I've ever been. It's about to get worse too, Quinton said. Lady Jupiter wants us to babysit a sub-Solomon argonomist. We've got that job, Billick said. I'm afraid so. I might be the immortal man, but getting on the wrong side of Lady Jupiter is trouble neither of us can afford right now. Not with the Black Rock closing. We are to teach the sub-Solomon the art of hydroponics. I've been here before. Billick, who, no doubt, knew parts of Quinton's history through pub talk, kept quiet, not wanting, at least to Quinton's mind, to make a tense moment any more tense. Sighing, Quinton took a step towards the strawberry plants, reached over to a strawberry on its stem and plucked it off. Gwen, Billick said, and then snatched the strawberry from the air. Eat it, Billick said. Quinton said, plucking one for himself. We've earned this. Billick's forked tongue lashed the fruit. It's so sweet. Shining me. I've been sniffing these for months. He held it close, his eyes beaming brightly yellow. Blow me down. And the colour. When they first started growing, I said to myself, I've never seen colour like this. You can make dyes from it. Come on, Quinton said, the strawberry tucked into his cheek, unchewed. Let's pretend for the moment we're in the old world. Billick popped the fruit into his mouth, chewed. His eyes watered, and he had to steady himself against the worktop. It's so sweet, he said. Sweeter than chocolate, it's true. I didn't know anything could be this sweet. There used to be a thing called sugar, Quinton said, which was even sweeter than this. Aye, I've read about it. Don't believe it, though. They stood in silence for some time, enjoying the strawberries, savouring every last molecule. And when they were both finished, they looked at each other, the same thought on their minds. Can I have another? But they couldn't. He'd already stolen 2 handfuls. I'm going to be honest with you, Bill, Quinton said. And Sophia whispered, don't. Billick stiffened. The reason I've been all over the place is because a special possession of mine is... Quinton, the more you tell him, the harder it gets. You can't trust a soul on this earth. What choice do I have? The flower is dying in my room, Sophia. It's going to die if I don't bring it here. How do you say, Quinton said aloud, it's dying. You're a fool, Quinton whispered. Sophia whispered. What would your mother think? Is a plant? Billick asked. Yes. One I've never seen. That's right, and it's very special to me. You said that. I did, yes, I did say that. What I'm saying is I have to take care of this very special plant in my rooms because I didn't want anyone else to see it. What's so special about it? Billick said, wheeling back over to the strawberry plants, where he resumed snipping strawberries from their stems. We're going to have to keep some seeds, he said. Another crop of strawberries. I would like to very much, but Ganymede owns the lineage. If we want to grow more, we have to pay him. Pay him? How can you own... But Quinton didn't have time for this. Look, Bill, don't worry about this right now. I need to tell you about my plant. The shears snapped. The immortal man's special plant, right? The roots, I wonder, do they dangle in the fountain of youth? It's a flower, Quinton said, ignoring the question for the moment. He'll know when he knows, and I'll have to accept it. Then came her whispers, and to steal it, kill it, take it away. Take away your chance at seeing her again, of ever reaching the stars. It's as old as me, Quinton said. Oh, it's from the old world. Yes, a Jabrosia. 10 white petals. It glows. Glows? I've never heard about a flower that glows, Billick said, twisting a strawberry flower to take a look at the petal's underside. Not vividly, Quinton said, only slightly, and I need to move it. Move it into the nursery where we can take better care of it. Right. I'm trusting you, Bill, to not tell anyone about this flower. If you thought keeping the black rot secret was important, then this is... I don't know. In lots of ways, this is far more important. Woo! There we go. So Quentin is just, his world is imploding, right? Like he's having to trust Billick with his most valuable secret, or his most protected secret. And Sophia is trying to tell him that he can't be trusted, right? Like Billick can't. No one can be trusted. Only Sophia can be trusted. So, and he's made a dodgy deal with Darlena, who he can't really afford to pay. And poor Darlena, who she's been on the receiving end of one of Quentin's bad deals before. So it's rough out there. Yeah. Anyway, next scene. Onwards. Just a minute, Darlena said, and then pushed a thumb against one side of her nose and blew hard. A stream of black snot shot out from the opposite nostril. The sight reminded him of the boy and his father in the doctor's surgery, a memory he'd done his best to let go, but one he couldn't seem to slip. I'm here doing what I can to keep everyone alive. There's never been favourites. She shot another string of snot from the other nostril. I should have worn a mask. Why not make up for it now and use a tissue? She shrugged and found a stained rag on a workbench. There were very few Subsolomas living in New Havilah. Fewer still who thrived, and Darlena was one of these. Not merely a survivor, but a thriver. To his mind, she was more New Havilan than most New Havilans. She never complained, hated anything to do with starships, and swore that roach meat would hold its own against any of the old world meats. Rad sensors and air recyclers were installed throughout the workshop. Not that they were necessary, but they droned in the same way that Subsolum droned, a monotonous up and down cycle. They were here, he guessed, to remind her of her old home. I don't know if you've got enough chocolate for what you've cost me, she said, wiping the snot up with a rag. That case is a work of art. Quentin set down the strawberry-filled ceramic pot, the big parcel of tobacco, but no chocolate, and admired Darlena's work. The case was art, a foot-high metallic cuboid sitting on top of a stubby cylinder, which had two valves bolted into it for in- and outflow pipes, making it connectable to his hydroponic loop in the nursery. Whilst its shapes were primitive, the joins, welds, and rivets, also flawlessly done, forced anyone to admit her skill. Snap one of these, she said, flicking open clips at the bottom of the cuboid, and let it open up. The sides fell away. You'll be able to lower whatever growth media you want in there. Any trouble, you call me. It's rad-proof, Quentin asked. It's a laminate of... there's a crazy metal here. It's a laminate of tantalum, tin, steel, copper, and then aluminium. It'll absorb whatever stray gamma emissions you find around town. No alpha particles are going to get in... oh my... blimmin' blimey bloody... It'll absorb whatever stray gamma emissions you find around town. No alpha particles are going to get in whatsoever, nor beta. It's as rad-proof as possible. Oh, I can't thank you enough, but you can pay me enough. She lifted the lid from the ceramic pot and looked in. So these are strawberries. Try one. They're otherworldly. She pinched one. It's fleshy. She held it up to inspect. What are you made of? She said to the strawberry. And you just eat it. I'd take the green stem off. The colour is incredible, she said. Yes, it's as if it were a new colour we thought we lost. Like this, she said. That's it. I would keep the stems and use them for fertiliser. The hummus collectors will happily take them as well. And I eat it as it is. You can do all sorts of things with them, Quentin said. She popped the strawberry into her mouth, chewed away. First there was silence, then there was a faint moan, then a breath was let go, and her whole body shuddered. She stared blankly at him. Fruits of the old world. He smiled. She blinked a few times, ran her tongue over her front teeth. You forget, don't you, she said. Forget that there was an old world. Yes, we do, he said. There was once a lot more people. Our language didn't come from us. Food was more than fuel. There was a sun. You forget. She looked about her workshop, lifted a pile of metal offcuts from a chair and sat down. You forget. Her head fell into her hands and she started to cry. He hesitated. I'm sorry, he managed to say. I didn't think, I didn't know. It's all right, she said, her head still in her hands. This is why I can't read the old world books anymore. I get so angry. Angry? They're like spoilt children, she sniffed. Stupid, spoilt children who couldn't learn to get along, who couldn't compromise. You can't hold it against them. Of course I can. They killed our home and all those wonders, sun-made wonders, and they blot out the sky, turn it into dust, and then radiation bomb each other. Should I hold her like Sophia does me? He shifted about, smoothed down his coat. He wanted to do it. Though instead of doing it, he simply said, "But all that gave birth to us, Darlena." Her face came away from her hands, and she looked up at him, her eyes red, tears running down her cheeks. "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." I know what the books say, but I don't care. We didn't inherit the earth, we survived it. Darlena, I'm okay, gospodin Alzubi. The immortal man is in my presence, eh? She stood, wiped tears on her sooty sleeve. "Where's my chocolate?" I don't have it." "I can see that. Even when I've tears in my eyes, I can still see you trying to cheat me." "Understand that I know. I don't give it roach's arse who you are. You can't come in here and rob me. I need to live. You've put me behind on Ganymede's tram parts." Quentin's gaze flicked between her and the flower case. She said. "I'm not letting you take it without payment." He stepped over to the case and tried to pick it up. It was heavy, too heavy for him to run out with. He was like a roach in a hunter's trap, desperate. "This is my own doing." Darlena stormed across the metalworks, yanked open her office door. "I'm calling the polizia." "Darlena!" He rushed over to her, nearly knocked his head against a pulley dangling from the ceiling. In the small office, she picked up the telephone and started dialing. He heard the switch operator say, "Number, marker, or name, please." "Put it down." "Yes," she said into the receiver. I need the polizia marker." Reaching across the desk, he thumbed down the telephone hook and said, "Listen to me. Can you listen to me?" "You can't keep bullying me," Darlena said. "Time and time I let you get the better of me. I have never gotten the better of you. I have always paid you, always sent customers to you, never uttered a wrong word. I need this case because New Havilah depends on me." "And the town doesn't depend on me," she said. "I've made half the parts in all the trams, made crutches, prosthetic limbs, spades, shovels, roach spears. It goes on and on." She sat back in her desk chair, hung up the telephone receiver. "I'm tired, gospodin Alzubi. I've never been more tired in my life." "How old are you?" Quentin said. 32. What's it matter? How old do you think I am?" She looked him up and down, looked him hard in the eye, as if she were planning an attack. "How old's the immortal man?" he says. "I don't know. You look 50. "I'm 206 years old." "What do you want me to say? That you've got it worse than me? I'm tired too." He sat on the edge of her desk. "I'm tired of worrying about cockroaches and food shortages. I'm tired of worrying about our little town, the last town, worrying if it will see tomorrow. I don't want to come here and take from you, but I don't have a choice. I must keep this town alive, and the only way I can do that is by taking that case. Do you know what it feels like? I've had many people take things from..." No, she leant forwards, her eyes beaming. "You're older than the bombs. You must have seen the sun." He was stunned. The room, her breathing, it steadied. "Yes," he said. "I haven't just seen it, I felt it." What did it feel like?" She nudged forward, looking up. "Warm," he said with a wry smile. "Though a novel I read long ago, said, there are things beyond description, of which the sun is one." Little aside here. That novel that Quentin is referencing, I believe, is Moby Dick. I'm pretty sure it's Moby Dick. I may have forgotten. I I think it's Moby Dick. I can't remember. I should have written that down. But I remember reading that line. I was trying to figure out how to describe the sun. And I really, really... this book is so much about the sun in a way. About how beautiful the sun is and how just so fundamental to life on Earth the sun is. And when you're asked in a moment in a scene to describe it, it's almost impossible, right? Because you're trying to describe arguably the most important thing to all life. How do you do that? And then I found that quote, I believe from Moby Dick, and I thought, perfect. And then have Quentin have read the book. And Moby Dick crops up a lot in this novel. I reference it quite a lot. And I thought, perfect, I'll use that. Anyway, back to the story. But the most precious part, he went on after a pause, is that you took it for granted. No matter how bad that day before was, it would always return. Until it didn't. Until it didn't, she repeated. I couldn't live underground. I read too many books, too many descriptions of wind and snow and oceans. I had to get out. But the one description I love the most beautiful, it's not here. Sometimes, when I have the welding torch burning, I take off my mask, close my eyes tight and pretend the heat and light of the sun. Isn't that stupid? We do what we have to cope. They both sat for some time. His pocket watch ticked, ticked, ticked. He wanted to check it. He wanted to get to sleep, knowing the journey up the mountain the next day would take much from him. But he needed to move the flour, so he needed that case. I want more strawberries, she said at last. When you grow your next batch, I want another 2 handfuls. You'll have them, along with the chocolate. And it was the truth. All right, next scene. This is a very short final scene. So well done if you're still listening. Gloomy street lamps lit his way. He towed the heavy flower case along the street using one of Darlena's carts, alternating burning forearm for burning forearm. The rhythmic racket distracted him from his thoughts, most of his thoughts, but others clawed their way into his mind. He couldn't understand how he had got here, how he had let himself slip to let the flower wither. Maybe I am tired, but Sophia is so sure I don't need help, other than hers. But she couldn't stop him from looking. He looked about the empty corridor, peered down alleyways and into windows, but there was no one coming to help, no one coming to save him. It's just us, Sophia. It's always been, ever since his mother left the planet on a starship. Gulping for air, sweat trickling down his spine, he lugged the flower case and cart up the hill towards Hotel du Soleil. He went in through the lobby doors, called the elevator and hoped that Jed hadn't gone home for the night. The one time I want to see him and he's not going to be here. But the floor indicator above the doors started to count down, and when it stopped at G, the car doors came apart. Oh, Jed's first head said. We were getting worried, sir. We've never known you to be out so late, the second head said. We thought it best to stay back a few hours after lockup, and make sure you arrive safely. The two faces, neat caps on their heads, smiled toothy smiles. A warmth built up inside him. It swirled like a blocked geothermal vent slowly building pressure. It was friendly, companionable, and he hadn't felt it in so long. Thank you, he said. I needed help today. He stumbled and caught himself on the wall. Easy there, sir. Is everything all right? Jed took the cart handle from him. You've worked yourself ragged. I'm getting weaker and weaker, Sophia. Maybe this solstice is the last time. Maybe I'm not meant to go on. Nonsense. We'll get all this into your rooms for you, sir. No problem. Could he trust Jed? At least Jed couldn't break the case, even if he tried. Thank you. He hobbled into the elevator car. A tight squeeze with the flower case, cart, himself and Jed. The elevator climbed up towards his rooms, screeching under the heavy load. It's no problem, sir. You must remember we're here looking out for you. That's right, the other head said. We knew how villains are good at that. End of chapter 2. Hey, look at us, guys. We're doing it. And look, you got a really cool taste of New Havilah there. I really wanted to render a town that was, well, you'll see in this next chapter, we switch points of view, and we go into a Sub-Solomon's point of view, whose experience of community is very different to that of Quentin's. And Quentin is, he's somewhat reluctant, right, to admit that where he lives is, well, that it's a good place, I suppose. Yeah, so anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Maybe I might reflect a little bit on how the videos have been received so far here, or maybe I won't. I don't know. I just, I'm trying to. I don't really know what I'm trying to do, or what, I think why I'm doing this is because so this novel is self-published, right? And I spent like 4 years writing this book, and it went out, and it was really awesome to publish a book and have a book published and things like that. But you have to really fight for your work to be consumed in this world. It's not an easy thing to do, and I think most self-published authors, and even most traditionally published authors, would probably agree that writing the book's the easy bit. The hard bit is getting the work to the people who would like it. Me doing this is just more stuff on top of the infinite amount of stuff that people can consume online. I have spoken thousands of times to anyone that would listen about this problem. And this is not a problem, right? It's not a problem. It's just hard to be heard in this world. And I think everyone feels that, and everyone struggles with that. And doing this, for me, is a way I get to share my book with people who might not, be readers directly, right? Like, they might want a bit of a show, and I'm putting on a bit of a show, I like to think. And 2, they might not have they might not be able to make time in their lives to read, to sit and read, right? You could probably, I'm hoping that most of you, or a good portion of you, aren't even watching the video. I'm just this prattling voice in the background, making silly voices and telling a story, right? So yeah, I thought, I don't know, I'm ending this video just by reflecting a little bit about this process. And I think, like I said in the other video, it is kind of surreal doing this, and sometimes you feel a bit of a fool for doing these sorts of things when you're sort of screaming into a void. But we do it anyway, because what choice is there? I mean, what am I going to do otherwise, right? It's like, I'm going to go and, I'm going to go and play video games or something, right? Like, I don't know. Anyway, look, this has been WACOOH chapter 2, which was called It Must Move. And thank you ever so much for watching. I need to go and get some B-roll of the cats, because my camera can only record in like 12-minute intervals, so I need to fill the gaps in with hilarious pictures. Anyway, thank you ever so much. Goodbye.